Her arrival at a small charity event was low-key and unassuming, and she was clearly delighted with a small choir that was on hand to meet her. Before taking up residence at the famous Pink Palace in the Principality of Monaco, she represented South Africa in the 2000 Sydney Olympics, with her team finishing 5th in the 4x100-metre medley relay. Princess Charlene retired from competitive swimming in 2007. Her Serene Highness met Prince Albert at a swimming event in Monte Carlo in 2000, announced their engagement in June 2010, and were married on the 1st of July 2011. The princess's pregnancy was announced on the 30th of May 2014, and on the 10th of December 2014, she gave birth to fraternal twins, Princess Gabriella and Prince Jacques. She was in South Africa as part of the Nelson Mandela centenary celebrations and to promote the work of her charitable foundation that helps children with education, development through sport, all with a specific focus on swimming and water safety. As you're about to hear, duty and giving back to the community, and South Africa in particular, is a key focus of her life. Your Highness, a very warm welcome, and thank you so much for talking to us. Just a short time ago, on the podium in front of a group of assembled charities, you spoke about the duty you feel to give back, and we know how amplified your charity work has become over the past 10 years or so. Why is it important to you?
It has always been important to me to give back. I've received a lot through my sport. I've been blessed in my career. I was blessed to have a very good family who gave me opportunity. Sport gave me opportunity, and I'm in a very privileged position, and I feel that it's my responsibility and duty to give back. And I'm very passionate about it, and it makes me very happy.
And a wide range of charities as well. I noticed, you know, everything from children to something which is very close to your heart, CPR and all types of aquatic events.
Yes.
That's also very close to your heart, yeah?
Yes. Well, I created my foundation in 2012, and initially to educate children through sport. During that time, there were a couple of incidents, especially around Europe and South Africa, where I found that there were a lot of drownings, and drowning became very much part of my foundation to help prevent drownings. And so we started teaching children CPR, water safety, and encouraging them to learn to swim, because I feel that, you know, when 80%, 70% of this planet is water, and there have been 370,000 drownings reported every year, and I think we need to pay attention to that. So if I can give a little bit back and give that little bit of attention to that, and to save someone's life, I think, you know.
You have a very busy schedule over the next couple of days on a week-long visit to South Africa. Part of that is being involved in the Nelson Mandela centenary celebrations. Why is this important to you, and are you playing any specific role in that respect?
Well, Nelson Mandela is a source of inspiration. He is an icon, and he's an example. And his legacy needs to continue, and I'm here to support that and to pass on that legacy.
And there's another icon, of course, that you've been charitably involved with, and that is Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. I'm assuming that you have the same feelings and the same relationship to him as you do with Madiba.
Yes, the Arch is very dear to my heart. I'm so excited and so thrilled to see him. I'm sad that I couldn't bring my children to meet him, but hopefully next time. I
want to get to your children in just a while, because most recently you've posted some very interesting photographs on Instagram. I think of the first haircut. We'll get to the haircut in just a moment. But I do want to tease this out a little bit. You've spoken also in the past about sport. You referred to it a little earlier about having the power to change lives, and in particular, I know that the Special Olympics has been something that is close to your heart. The power to change and the involvement, the relationship with the Special Olympics, Your Highness. Why is that important?
Well, I think clearly South Africa is an example of what sport can do for a nation. I mean, the Rugby World Cup we won in 1995. That
Long time ago.
1995, we won, and it united our country. Just a simple game of rugby. Sport breaks down barriers that politics probably could never do, and it brings people together. It's healthy, and it's educational, and that's why I support it, and I will always support sport, and definitely my children will be involved with sport.
Any signs that they're starting to show that interest yet, or is it too early?
Oh, they're very active. They love swimming. They're running very fast at the moment, so definitely they'll be athletic.
When you say they love swimming, I wonder why that is. Is that something that you want to inculcate in them, that kind of sporting culture, though? Is that, are you already starting to, take them to the swimming pool and to work with them in that respect?
I've had them swimming since they were 3 months. 3 months old. And my biggest fear is, I have swimming pools, and I would never allow my children to be around a swimming pool unattended. And the first thing I did was drown-proof my kids. It's like my biggest fear in my life is drowning. So it was very important for me to give them that education. So.
As a swimmer, and as a successful swimmer at the very highest echelons, it interests me that fear of drowning. What I wonder drives that fear?
Playing in a swimming pool when you're a youngster, a child, you'd like to adventure, swim underneath a swimming pool cover, and then you find yourself in trouble, choking underwater, panic. It's terrifying.
How often do you get into the pool yourself, and how often is there that urge, I wonder, to suddenly open the pipes and start really pushing it as hard as possible?
Well, that will never leave me. I can't.
Do you swim every day?
I don't swim every day, but I try to swim as much as I can, and I think it's just been, I swam for 20 years of my life, so it's part of my life and it'll never leave.
Do you still reflect back on those glory Olympic days?
Not really, not really. I have a lot of souvenir and a lot of memories of my training, of my teammates and my coaches. Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with your teammates?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I keep in touch with all my coaches, some of my swimming friends, who have also helped me a lot with my foundation. So.
Let's get back to your foundation in a moment if we can, but we are recording this interview. You've literally just arrived. You've addressed a function very quickly. Either online or through Skype or whatever the case is, how closely do you now stay in touch with this country, given that it's been a decade, and I couldn't believe it's been 10 years since you left. How closely do you stay in touch with the country?
Obviously, I keep in touch with some of my friends, my family. My parents still live here in Benoni, my brother and his wife and children.
Just bumped into your brother now.
Yeah.
How was that reunion? Was that good?
Same old, same old.
Yeah.
No, I'll keep close ties. I understand there's a lot of political changes in the country. A lot has changed in the time that I've been away, but I still love coming back here and still connecting with people and so, yeah.
So if I were to ask you for a very short list, Your Highness, of the things that you miss most about South Africa, one, but two, far more importantly, Benoni.
Ooh, Benoni.
Let's start with Benoni. Not too far from here. We could walk there if we wanted to. You could swim there. Yeah.
What I'd say I'd miss about Benoni.
Just remember, we have a very big audience in Benoni.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
to be kind.
What would I go back to Benoni? Go to the Keg or Nando's, Nino's, the Bunny Park? Okay. Benoni, I'd like, obviously I know the roads to travel those every morning on the way to training. I used to visit my gran at the old age home, Ryan Park 4. Yeah. The bunny, take my niece and my nephew. Yeah. Sometimes I go to the Bunny Park.
Is the bunny park still there? I wonder. I remember taking my children to the bunny park. You've got to take your kids to the bunny park at somebody. You've got to bring them to South Africa. You've got to bring them to Benoni, and you've got to say, this is where your mum grew up.
Well, I think if I brought my kids, my son would definitely want to see the fire station. Yes. For sure, he's obsessed with fire trucks. and possibly the bunny park.
Yeah. What about the rest of South Africa, though? I mean, it's patently obvious when you were standing up and talking, and as we converse now, it still has a very deep and meaningful place in your heart, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
You miss it, don't you?
I do miss South Africa. There's a lot of parts of South Africa that I actually haven't seen myself. I haven't been, to the Karoo. I haven't been to see the Western Cape. I'd like to travel a little bit more. It's still a beautiful country. I'm just flying in today. It's grown so much. Yeah.
Miss it a lot.
I do.
It's very, very obvious. If we can move from Benoni and South Africa, maybe to the life that you lead in Monaco, and I understand that it's important that you keep that you have a private life, which is very critical. But give us a sense, if you can, of kind of a typical day in your life. How have things changed then, and the work that you do, and the profile that you enjoy right around the world compared to what you used to? I mean, what's a typical day like for a princess in Monaco?
Well, from waking up at 3:55 in the morning to get to early morning training, it's changed dramatically since that.
I'm sure you get on your knees every day and thank the Lord for that. Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, I've, children, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, breakfast, up, go to creche. Then my day begins, a bit of work with the foundation, work with the palace, receiving people. I'm also renovating at the same time, part of the palace for our living quarters. So,
that rolls nicely off the tongue. I am renovating a palace. How do you renovate a palace?
Well, we're renovating the palace. It needs a bit of a renovation. Just our living part we're renovating at the moment. Of course, during the year we have several events. We have the Grand Prix, we have the tennis, the show jumping, the yacht show. So it's a full-on schedule in Monaco.
Tell me about the Grand Prix. Do you enjoy that? Yeah. I mean, you've got to have the best seats in the house.
We do. Yeah. It's work. It's a work. We're the host for the Grand Prix, and we have a lot of guests that come through. A lot of celebrity heads of state. It's about 72 hours of mayhem.
It's a busy day for you.
Very busy.
Probably a busy week. Yeah. And the drivers, do you get to know them quite well?
Yes, we get to see the drivers. We go into the pit lanes. That's always exciting to see the cars and how the technology has changed, and cars just getting faster. The pilots are really, really supreme athletes and very serious. So.
And you understand, being a competitive swimmer yourself, you understand the competitive nature of what they're involved in as well.
Yes, you feel it. You feel the nerves and
which is important. What is water biking? So explain to me first of all, and I'm sure that the audience watching us is going to take the mickey out of me. What is water biking, first of all? Give me the simple definition.
Well,
you can see I'm not built for it.
Two years ago, my brother Gareth, who also helps me with the foundation, we wanted to raise funds. And he said, look, we have this water bike. It's coming from the States. And it's almost like a spinning bike suspended on two floaters, and a little propeller at the back. So when you're cycling, the propeller propels you forward. And so we got about 20 bikes across. Last year we did the first water bike challenge, and we left from Nice and we arrived in Monaco. And it was a hell of a challenge because you have to change. It was like a relay, 5 people on each team, and you have to change because it's exhausting. This year we did laps around the solarium, which is in front of Jetty in Monaco, and there was a series of laps, 30 laps to complete, and five athletes on each team, 1 professional cyclist, a celebrity, and 3 other people sponsored by companies. And we complete about, I'd say, 20 kilometers. It would take about just over 2 hours. And
took it out of you.
It did.
Yeah. And is it something? I mean, it's something that you're going to be promoting and also wanting to perhaps push in this neck of the woods as well.
Well, it was such a surprise to us that there's been such a demand for it. I mean, since we did the 2, now we're going to have one in Cape Town on the 17th of February. Athletes from all over the world are going to be flying in for it, and
So if I were to ask you, maybe when you water bike up to the solarium again in front of Monaco, if I could accompany you on your team, what would you say to me? I think the word you're looking for is no, but be kind.
I would ask you if you have trained.
Okay, and I would come straight back into Your Highness and say, not in a million years. I know you're very time pressed. I know that you'll be attending the Nelson Mandela lecture. I know that you've got a wide program ahead of you. So I'm going to thank you very much for joining us today. And I want to ask you just one final question, if we can. We've got a vehicle outside. If I put you in the vehicle, it's a bakkie, and we go to Benoni.
Do we drive it?
Can you drive a bakkie for us through to Benoni? Can we do this right now?
I can drive you to Benoni anytime.
And in the bakkie, it'll be even better.
In a bakkie, even better.
Your Highness, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.